Welcome to the Brain Picker Pro Show, live from Lake Wiley, South Carolina, and all the way on the opposite coast in San Diego is my good friend Alex Martinez. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Larry, doing great, man. Happy to be here with you and your audience and ready to drop some knowledge today.
Awesome, man. I'm really excited about what you got to share because you and I kind of have gone down some of the same paths. I know you did your first deal when you were 20, although you're much younger than I am. Your first deal when you were 20, you made like 22 grand on that deal. It took you like 45 days to do that after you started learning about real estate. So and you really do a lot of deals where you don't have to worry about marketing expenses. There's no direct mail, no pay-per-click, no bandit signs or any of that stuff. And I know you've helped a lot of people as well. So why don't you start out and tell our viewers and listeners a little bit about yourself, and then we'll jump into the content.
Yeah. Thank you for that intro, Larry. Man, about 8 years ago now, when I was 20 years old, I found real estate investing, and it was kind of like I went to college and like most people and was going to get a degree and be a good son and be a good student and also work a part-time job and then get that degree, get a job and retire when I'm 65. And very quickly after about a year of college, I realized I didn't want to go that route, and I knew I had to do something different,
Right.
go with that common path. And so I did find real estate, and I found out about wholesaling. And so I just went all in, completely all in, read all the books I could, everything I needed to. And within 45 days, I did that first deal. It was a wholesale deal that brought in about $22,000 of profit. I didn't spend any money in marketing. And very soon I realized that, hey, I didn't spend any money in marketing and did this fairly quickly. I think I'm onto something, because a lot of people are spending a lot of money in marketing. That same year, from doing these deals, from wholesaling and fixing and flipping, eventually graduating to that, did over 1.2 million in profit that year with my team and and then over 12 million in revenue as well. And so I want to be here today to definitely share about the MLS, because that's the main strategy I use to get started and what I like to recommend for beginners who don't have a lot of money for marketing. And then also, if you have the time, energy, and effort, then the MLS offer system is a great way to get deals as well, because that's usually just all it requires.
That's great. That's great. So now you are in San Diego, right? So, and I'm sure you're not wholesaling houses off the MLS in San Diego. Tell us a little bit about the whole MLS system that you're doing.
Yeah. So the premise of the MLS offer system is really about the two major obstacles that most real estate investors have. So I've surveyed about 2,000 real estate investors over the past 2 years on their obstacles, their main obstacles. Number one is finding motivated seller leads. Number two is lack of capital. So with the MLS offer system, what the MLS is, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it. I'm sure a lot of people aren't, but it's a database of all houses on the market in your area. It is created for real estate professionals, maintained by real estate professionals. And the thing is that every single day, there's new houses that come on the market on the MLS that are
Right.
for sale. So technically, if every house is for sale on the MLS, I like to think of them as motivated sellers. Solves the first major problem of most people. Now, the second problem is a lot of people don't have money to spend on marketing. Well, the MLS, to get assistant access, if you're unlicensed to it, costs about maybe $25 a quarter, maybe $100 a year, usually around that price. So you
Right.
get access to it as an unlicensed individual. And every single day, you can go through the new listings that come up on the market. There may be 20 new properties that come up on the market. Brand new properties listed by a real estate agent that are going to go to Jack and Sally, first-time homeowners. But guess what? Out of those 20 properties that are all new in the market, it's probably going to be about 4 or 5 that are distressed. Maybe there's a house that's facing foreclosure, so they need to short sale it. There's a sale of 5 different family members that want to just get rid of this property and sell it for cash. Maybe it's a probate. Maybe there's a landlord that's got a property that just wants to get rid of it. So there's a lot of opportunities that come up on the market each and every day. And so what the MLS allows you to do is submit offers on property every single day. And what I've seen is that the more offers you send, and quality offers, meaning an offer to buy a house, the more deals you're going to get. And depending on your level, how advanced, or if you're a beginner, usually it's about that 10 to 20 offer range of sending those offers to get a deal, whether you're going to wholesale that deal, make about 10,000, or fix and flip that deal. That's something I've seen consistent for about 8 years. And I'd say probably it's been on the higher side after 8 years, but it still works today. I was just talking to an individual, with a lot of my students, and he gets about an offer for a deal for every 20 offers. He's in Connecticut. And then I have some people here in LA, about 15 offers for every deal. But what's the most important thing about the MLS system, this offer system, is consistency. Because a lot of people, what they do, Larry, is they send 2, 3, 4, 5 offers, and they don't get a deal and they quit.
Right.
And in anything you do, every strategy works. It's just which one do you want to focus on? Which one plays to your strengths? Right. And so that consistency of sending offers every single day, or just every single week, every single month, is really important. Because even if you submit an offer and to an agent on a house you want to wholesale or fix and flip, and the deal doesn't go through, or they accept a higher offer than yours, what you do have is an offer in that inbox of this listing agent. And if the higher offer falls out, if they need to go to another buyer, this listing agent's most likely going to call the people that have offers in their inbox. So every offer is a shot for you to get deals. And about 40% of all the deals I've ever done have come from a higher offer being accepted than mine, and then either an agent reaching out back to me or me following up with that agent, and then my offer getting accepted. So a lot of people don't see that long-term game about the MLS, but if you're willing to commit to it, put in the work consistently, then you will get deals consistently.
That's awesome. That's really good. I made a few notes and was looking up some stuff while you were talking. Tell us a little bit about the submitting the offers model. I mean, what is your model? Kind of like an overview of, okay, you go to realtor.com, you go to Zillow.com, or you log into your back-end MLS. What are you looking for? What are you doing once you find one you want to make an offer on? Are you calling the agent? Are you calling the listing agent? Do you have a buyer's agent? You send in an email? You have an offer blaster? How does that work?
Yeah, let me give you some of the secret sauce, because anyone can implement this. This is the strategy that I use right now. I implemented 8 years ago, still use today. All my students use it as well. And it's been able to help people who've been trying to get deals for 18 months with no luck, and then in 3 weeks learn the system and actually get a deal without spending any money. So it works. So what we do is, let's say you log in the back end of the MLS. We want access to the MLS. It's the king database of all the leads in your area. So cool, get access to that. Now we find and filter the new leads for the day that come on the market. We want fresh and hot leads, because if we're the first one to call, or one of the first ones to call on this deal, then sometimes they'll just go with that particular offer that we have. So I've had many students that make one phone call to an agent, and you're the first phone call, and they just work with you because they don't want to work with 20 other offers.
Right.
And so what we do is, yes, we do call the listing agent directly. So that contact information's on the MLS. Another important thing: their phone number, email, address, the broker number. So, if you have the time, energy, and effort, don't just make one phone call. If they don't pick up, don't call them back again. You can email, text, you can call the brokerage office, do what you got to do to get in front of that agent. Right. So you have 7 different angles to get in front of that agent. So now it's about calling that agent, but we're not going to be a robot. We're not going to be an a-hole to them. We're going to actually focus on this property, focusing on getting their seller out of this distressed situation, focusing on what this agent wants, what would make a great close for them. What's a winning situation look like? And how can you, as a wholesaler or fix and flipper, how can your offer fit into that picture with them? And I call that call a discovery call, because so many people discount themselves and don't even submit an offer because they look at the listing sheet, which has the information about a property, and they make their own judgments and assumptions about a property and don't even call the agent.
Right.
So a really important thing to understand is that I look at the MLS now, after 8 years of doing this, like Craigslist. If you see something for sale on Craigslist, you know that offer is negotiable. That list price of a couch that you want to buy for $500, you don't have to buy for $500. You can offer $400, and that person can accept that offer, counter that offer, reject that offer. It's the same exact philosophy on the MLS. A lot of people think that for some reason, since the MLS is created, that this list price, the sales price of the property, is sticky, that it has to be that. But that was, 99% of the time, that is set by the listing agent, who may or may not know what they're doing. And the market's going to bear, and this price is going to sell whatever offers they get for this property. So you need to submit offers. You need to understand that philosophy, because so many people count themselves out. So we focus on building the relationship with the agent. And here's one of the most important things. If you're not a licensed real estate agent, or even if you are, what you can do is call the listing agent directly. And one of the first questions you can ask, you can say, hey, Lisa, I'm interested in your property at 1234 Hearst Drive. I'm a buyer. I'm not an agent. Are you open to representing me by any chance in this transaction? So now what we're doing is this listing agent's going to make a commission if they sell the property. And if we ask them to represent us as a buyer too, they'll make dual commission on this deal. So now we're legally incentivizing them. Well, not really incentivizing. We're just bringing up a situation where if they go with our offer, they're going to make twice as much capital versus another offer. So that's a really important thing to understand. It's something I've been implementing for 8 years. And from my offers where an agent there's dual representation on it and they're going to make twice as much money, like 95% of those offers are accepted over ones where I have a random buyer's agent this listing agent does not know of. So it's these little things that add up to the big picture in the end. When you do that consistently over time, I've never seen anyone who's put in the work, who submitted about over 20 offers. Like I've never seen them not get a deal who are doing this right. And so then once you can do that, it's about seeing that, okay, this isn't rocket science. I can improve this process. And then I've gone on to build many different teams as well of hiring people in here, because this is, with people, it is scalable. It's about making these calls, submitting these offers. But that's the premise of it. And a lot of the times, what's great about this too, Larry, is, I don't like meeting directly with sellers. I don't like negotiating over, cigarettes and coffee for 4 hours, talking about a property. But some people do. I like work from a computer. I was born in the digital age a little bit. So a lot of these properties too, from the MLS, you can do all from your computer. I've done deals in different states, when I've been in different countries, when I've been at a Coachella music festival, I've been able to wholesale deals because it just populates on your computer. A lot of this is digitally. You're sending offers digitally. And that's what I really like about it too, from like efficiency standpoint. And so I love implementing this with people who don't have a lot of capital, want to get started, don't want any risk. And that's what I've seen to be successful throughout the past 8 years.
That's great. That's great. Okay. So, and I believe in the MLS. I bought tons of properties, probably 400 or 500 properties off the MLS over the years, MLS and HUD. So I get exactly where you're coming from, and I agree with you. Now, one of the things that I don't look for, my model is a little different. You mentioned you want the fresh, hot leads right off the bat. So are you looking for, well, tell us exactly what you're looking for, because, if it's a brand new property on the MLS, chances are they're not going to take 50% of the list price, the first day. So tell us really what you're looking for.
Yeah, great question. And that's one of the strategies. I got 5 main strategies, but I'd be on here for 3 hours if we talked about every one. But here's the most important thing to look for, whatever strategy you're using on the MLS. And it's 2 things. Let's make it easy. We're looking for a distressed property. So the property itself, it's dilapidated. It's stuck in the 70s. There's mold, there's cracked slabs. It's got fire damage. Anything that's wrong with it, this smells like cat pee. There's dogs in there. It's a hoarder house. A distressed property that can be renovated and have value added to it is what we're really looking for. That's one piece of the puzzle. So some people just go after those, but here's what I'm looking for as well. I'm looking for a distressed property in distressed condition and the seller who's in a distressed situation as well. So you want the double whammy. You need both to really make these offers effective as much as possible. So
right.
Not only, so that fits the puzzle. And so a distressed situation, what we're talking about, right? They're doing a short sale. Maybe it's an REO. There's a death in the family, divorce. They got to move out of the state. I've done deals where someone has to move out of the state and got to sell their house within 30 days. So they need cash offer. So they can buy another house. Just any type of distressed situation that they're in. And so if you have a distressed property, you're going to get a discount on the property already if it's in a distressed condition. If they're in a distressed situation, you're most likely going to get a discount as well. And from those 2 situations, that's what we see allows us to get this property enough below market value and have an offer that's all cash be incentivizing enough for them to accept that offer. And so now the X factor in here is the relationship you build and trust you build with that listing agent too. I have a student, he's 19 years old. He's got an offer accepted $18,000 below the other offer because that listing agent trusted that this person would close the deal. He's 19 years old, but he talks like a professional. He has his buyers lined up and he can make it happen. So, you don't want to go after the random properties. That's where a lot of people get overwhelmed, get burned out in the MLS. They start submitting offers on a house that's renovated with with granite countertops and is going to go to a conventional mortgage. And you don't want to be a wholesaler, fix and flipper competing with those types of offers. Because the majority of the time, the seller's just going to accept that higher conventional mortgage. They're not in a distressed situation. The house isn't in distressed condition. So I always look for those. And whether you're looking at expired listings or listings over 90 days or that have just gone from under contract to back on the market, still what we've seen, 99% of the time you're going to close those deals when in a distressed condition and the seller's in a distressed situation.
That's really good. Now, how do you find out about the seller's distressed situation? Because that's not something that's going to be in the MLS listing. Are you asking the listing agent, and how forthcoming are they with that information? Because, sometimes they're going to say, well, I'm not allowed to give you that information, or it really is irrelevant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was lucky enough when I was 19, 20, I read this book called The Aladdin Factor. And basically it says, if you ask for what you want in life, you'll usually get it. So
what's the name of the book?
It's called The Aladdin Factor. I believe
okay.
Jack Canfield, but I can tell you the book right now. It's if you ask for what you want in life, you usually get it. And so read that and use that all the time on the MLS. So I just asked the listing agent. I asked if they're open to representing me as a buyer. Cool, check mark. We're good. I asked how their day's going too. I don't always just talk about real estate. I'm not just robotic. I'm connecting with a human being here, and that's Thankfully, I was raised in a way to have like people skills. I wouldn't say the most amazing skills, but that's something that you need to work on for this to really work. We're connecting with people here. So a lot of people, who don't have people skills, it's time to get books like How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's People Skills 101 by Dale Carnegie. But yeah, how do I know the seller's distressed situation? Usually the way I find that out is just from talking with the listing agent and talking with them. So why is the seller moving? Okay. And when do they need to move by? I asked some of these questions and okay. Yeah. Where are they moving to? Or, okay, do they need to sell the house by any certain time? Okay. And, other questions like, what types of offers on these property is on this property? Is it homeowner offers or investor offers? And so I'm asking all these questions. I'm asking everything I can. If they say no, great. That's the worst that's going to happen. But a majority of the time they're going to tell me a little bit here and there, may give me a range of where other offers are. I ask for everything that I want, within reason, and I'm respectful as well. But that's true in anything in life that I do. And so that's how we get that information to figure out the situation we're in. So I did a house one time with a seller needed to move to Colorado, need to sell their house extremely quickly. And I was able to, lease back the house to them, give them a 30-day close, exactly what they wanted. Then they need to stay like a little bit longer. And so instead of just canceling a contract, what can I do and change the terms, but not the price of the deal to make it work? So I did a lease back. But for people that are in the dark, in the shadows, and not in communication with the listing agent, a lot of the times they can lose out on a deal like that because they're not in the know. And it's these little things a lot of times that can be a make or break deal where you can make 10, 20, 100K on a deal. So whenever you have a deal under contract or it feels right, you have a good call with the listing agent, I stay on that thing like white on rice, and I don't focus on anything else because I know that this is going to put food on the table. This is going to make that time freedom for me in the future, go on that vacation, whatever it is, my why, focusing on this deal is going to support that why for me.
Good. I love it. So can you give us a rundown of a typical kind of deal? A property in such and such city, such and such state, listed for X. We bought it for X, sold it for X. Yeah.
I mean, I'll give you a recent student of mine in San Diego who did a wholesale deal. So a house was in Poway. It was listed. Poway's in San Diego, more like North San Diego County.
Right.
It was listed at $500,000 on the market. This was someone who was renting the house out, the seller, and it was just horrible condition, holes in the walls. The structure was still standing. It was still a good structure. It was about 1,200 square feet, and it needed about $50,000 of renovation for it. What he was able to do was actually talk to that listing agent, implement everything we talk about. And so the listing price was $500,000, and he actually got under contract at $400,000. So $100,000 below the list price. And that's happening still in San Diego right now. It's not going to happen on every single deal, but this property checkmarked all the boxes, distressed condition, distressed seller, just want to get rid of this eyesore of a property, didn't want to renovate it up, put it back on the market. Now, this particular deal, I'd say the average is about $10,000 for a wholesale deal. My student Tyler made $6,500 on this particular wholesale deal. But those are kind of like normal numbers that we see. And I've seen across the nation, usually about $10,000 is kind of that average number that we see. But you're going to get some that are less. And then I have a student, Carson, as well. He's in Flint, Michigan, and he's picking up properties below $100,000 all the time. He's making about an average of $12,000 per deal. He's made about $30,000 in the past 30 days. But he's getting properties literally at like $14,000, and they need maybe $15,000 of renovation, and ARV is going to be like $60,000. So he's just crushing it over there.
Wow, that's awesome. So if Tyler, I believe it was, is picking up properties for 14, what would a property like that be listed for?
Probably like in the 20s, 25, somewhere around there.
Okay. Now, are you able to wholesale it at the whatever the listing price is or higher, or do you have to keep what you're wholesaling it for below the listing price?
Yeah, great question. So the way I look at the listing price, it's almost irrelevant in a way of, it's not irrelevant, but that listing price is not actually from the actual market. It says, hey, this is the market value of the house. The listing agent's setting that number. A lot of times real estate agents, don't have the most advanced pedigrees, everything like that. And so I think that we as investors know what the true market value is of the property. So yes, you can wholesale the deal above the list price. It's just dependent upon what's the true market value of the property, where do you get under contract, and where can you appropriately wholesale that property so that your cash buyer, fix and flipper still makes a profit. If it's above the list price, great. If it's below the list price, great. If it's right at the list price, great. Wherever you're wholesaling it. That's why I like to say the list price is arbitrary in that way, because a sophisticated buyer that I work with, the buyers I like to work with are quality buyers, sophisticated buyers who maybe do anywhere from 3 to 10 deals a month. They don't care where a deal comes from, whether it's on the MLS or a door knock, or my grandma was networking for me and brought me a deal. A deal is a deal. So they don't care where it's at. They don't care about the list price at all. So if I wholesale a deal $100,000 above the list price, but it's still going to be within the necessary ROI that my buyers need, they'll do it. Any buyer that balks at me, that I don't want a deal from the MLS or anything like that, then I probably just won't work with them. Because if I have a deal under contract, like I said, a deal is a deal. So at the end of the day, I'd say the majority of deals are typically below the list price where you wholesale it at, but there's definitely some that come in over the list price as well.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. So having said that, talking about you're dealing with buyers, tell us a little bit about building the buyers list, and is that something that you recommend because you're doing MLS that you have in advance, or are you marketing each property whenever you get it?
Yeah, great question. So here's my philosophy on buyers. You really don't need, I just see the issue of a lot of beginners just try and build a buyers list as big as possible. And I call it that they build a list of faceless cash buyers. And I don't actually have a relationship with them. And sometimes if you build a list of 200 people and you just have their email, you don't know who they are, and you send out a deal to them, they may or may not have any loyalty to you. They could go behind your back. You could lose out on a deal. I see it all the time.
Right.
So instead, I like to flip the switch and say, hey, let's focus on finding about 3 quality buyers in your area that are doing multiple deals per month, multiple fix and flip deals. And so how do you meet them? Well, you go to Real Estate Investing Association meetings, go to every single one in your area, and you're going to see the people that actually go to each meeting. And they're probably going to be, if they're a fix and flip company and they're legit, they're probably going to be a serious buyer. That's why they go to Real Estate Investing Association meetings. So you can go there and find them. There's another trick I like called the Google Ninja trick. And what I like to do is I like to pretend I'm a motivated seller in my area. So if I was in Atlanta, Georgia, for example, if you're in Atlanta, Georgia, and you want to find buyers within 1 minute, I would say, okay, if I was a motivated seller, what would I type into Google? And I would type in sell my home fast Atlanta. I would type stop foreclosure Atlanta, sell my house quickly Atlanta. So I searched that into Google, And now the top organic results in Google are companies, maybe some wholesaling companies, but some fix and flip real estate investment companies that want to rank well. They've written blogs about that or have that content on their website. So now in 1 minute, you search that term, you can make 10 phone calls, probably in about 30 minutes, and find a few cash buyers for yourself. Usually what I've seen is if people are ranking for those keywords, they probably are sophisticated because they have to use SEO and internet marketing techniques and put some money into it. But it's about vetting your buyers now, not just about finding them, vetting them. Make sure they actually do multiple deals per month. Make sure they have the capacity for multiple deals per month. Find out where they're actually buying deals. Find out if they're buying deals. Make sure they're a fix and flipper, not a wholesaler. Right. What's their bread and butter? Do they do additions to property? Do they not? So I look at a buyer, Larry, as that's my customer. That's someone who's going to pay me $10,000 plus per deal. That's someone who's going to pay me multiple six figures in a year. I want to know exactly what they want. So when I deliver a deal to them, it's not on a silver platter, it's on a platinum platter. I know with certainty they want this deal. And what that's going to do, if you do all of that just on the front end, it's not a month-long process. This is literally, it's going to be a couple phone conversations with a buyer. You meet in person, develop a relationship with them, learn about their business, ask these questions, put into a spreadsheet, make a note on it, keep that tab. And now when the deal comes and you do all this work, like I said, it takes maybe about a week. Now you don't need to build a list of about 100 buyers. You have maybe 3 to 5 that are quality, you have a relationship with. They're probably going to pick up your phone call, respond to your email because you've taken the time to learn about their business as well. So that's my approach to it, because then I see majority of the time, for me at least, in San Diego, usually about 1 or 2 of my buyers buy 90% of my deals. So that's why I don't want 100 different buyers. If I know someone can close quickly, he's going to respond to me within the hour if this deal works or not. And if it doesn't work, they're going to tell me why and give me feedback, which is really important too. So, you can start saying why this probably doesn't work for them. If my buyers aren't like that, then I'm probably just not going to work with them because I'd rather have less stress and take maybe a few grand less and give it to one of my preferred cash buyers than build a list of 1,000 cash buyers, blow it out with the risk of losing the deal, the risk of stress, the risk of responding to all those people. So that's my philosophy on buyers. That's really helped me out throughout the years.
That's good. I love it. So really what you want is quality over quantity.
Yeah, in all things. And I think in all things in real estate, if you focus on quality, being, world-class, say, hey, I want to send a world-class offer. Let me send all the existing documentation I need with it. Let me find world-class buyers, people actually doing deals. And you operate world-class too with authenticity, then I think you'll go a long, long way. And I think if you set that goal, and it's kind of like if you shoot for the stars, you hit the moon, you're still going to be a pretty good person and do a good job. So that's kind of my philosophy behind everything.
That's really good. I love it. I love it. So let's talk a little bit about the contract with the MLS. You got to use the realtor's paperwork. They've got certain things that they want to do. How do you like to structure the deal? Do you want a 15-day inspection, 30-day inspection, 5-day inspection, that sort of thing?
Yeah. So for standard terms that I like as an investor, approaching this deal as an investor, so it can be a wholesaler fix and flip. I always do a 14-day close and 7-day inspection. That's the starting point. So the 7-day inspection, if it doesn't pass a personal inspection, that's like your back out clause, keeps you safe. The 14-day close is literally that. We're going to close in 14 days of when this deal is under contract. Now, if my price isn't good enough for an agent, if they want me to change the price, I don't try to change the price, I try to change the terms. So I will reduce the inspection contingency if necessary from 7 days to 3 days, make my offer more appealing, make the close shorter as well. So that's just a little tip for people, just terms, not the price.
Right.
And that can help you get the deal a lot. And so the actual contract, those are the terms, main terms. You want the seller to deliver free and clear title. We don't want liens on this property. Right. There's liens on it. I want the seller to pay for it. And that's pretty much the gist of the main terms, the most important thing, so you stay protected. Now, the contract that we do use, wherever you're at in the United States, I recommend if you want to use the MLS offer strategy, use the contract that the Realtors Association uses in your area. Or in your state. So in California, we use the California Association of Realtors. But wherever you're at, you want to use that contract because all the listing agents are familiar with it. If a lot of people are amateurs and they find a contract online, doesn't even look right, they fill it out and they send it to a listing agent on the MLS. They're gonna be like, "What the heck are you doing?" and you're not going to be taken seriously. So I'm glad you asked that question, because there's a lot of little nuances. People hear this, oh, let me just write a piece of paper and submit an offer. That's not how it works. Let's use the California Association of Realtors contract. It's called the Residential Purchase Agreement, and always use those contracts. They're familiar with it. You want to give the agents are familiar with it. The sellers are probably familiar with it. And that's going to give you the highest likelihood of success.
That's huge. I love it. Let's talk a little bit about the deposit. A lot of people who are just starting out, they don't have a ton of money. When you're dealing with individual sellers, you can put up $100 deposit, but I'm sure, a guy putting in a $400,000 bid on a $500,000 listing, they can't get away with a $100 deposit. How do you do that?
You're right. And I like, for any property over, so the deposit amount, a rule of thumb, I like to make the deposit about 3% of the purchase price, but cap it at 10,000. So the deposit can be about 10,000. That's just what I like to do. It's a good rule of thumb. It's always worked for me and my students. My goal when I wholesale a property, when I teach wholesaling to people, is you already put the work to find these buyers. You know exactly what they want. Have the goal of wholesaling this within 72 hours when the deposit is due, and have your buyer put in the deposit. So that's another thing of qualifying these buyers. Are they willing and able to make a decision within 72 hours and put in a $10,000 deposit? I don't want to put in that deposit.
So what you're saying is, because you work with a select few buyers, 2 or 3 buyers, you're just really getting the deal under contract, and then you're having your buyer, you're going to have it sold before you ever have to put up the deposit, and you're going to make sure that your buyer puts up that deposit.
Exactly. 100%. You said exactly right. I don't want to put the deposit. Does that happen majority of the time? Yes, it happens the majority of the time where the buyer is comfortable. I've already set them up for this. They said they're willing to do this. They have a lot of deals. They know if they don't act quickly within 24 hours, it's probably going to one of my other buyers. They know I'm serious. They know I'm a professional.
Right.
So I like to have all my ducks in a row, be organized, and it forces them to be organized and respond quickly to me, and do these things, because I'm doing things a lot better than most wholesalers and making their life easier. A lot of people say, I don't want to work with wholesalers, things like that. It's because a newbie will send a cash buyer listings from the MLS they don't have under contract and say, hey, what do you think, to a cash buyer? And that's not a wholesale deal. You don't have that under contract. So I take the opposite approach. That's why I call it a platinum platter, so we can deliver it to these buyers. But yeah, the goal is never to have to put in a deposit yourself. Sign that contract, wholesale that deal to that buyer within 72 hours, so you don't have to come up with that. Now, if you have to come up with that, if you have the cash, okay, you can put that in. Most people don't have the cash. What can you do?
Right.
If you're starting out, you have financing partners or other relationships. There's things called private money lenders, and private money lenders, maybe high net worth individuals, just someone who has that amount of money for the deposit. You can borrow that money from someone, have a separate agreement, whether it's 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, say, hey, let me put this in here. It's secured by inspection contingency. Let me pay you 10% of the wholesale fee, 5% of the wholesale fee if it goes through, or let me just pay you $100 for borrowing your money for 1 week. And that's one way you can use other people's money for the deposit if you don't have that capital as well.
That's good. I love it.
Yeah.
Talk about closing, because you can't assign an MLS contract. And I know there's multiple ways to do that, but you really, let's hear how you do it.
Yeah. So as long as there's an addendum, you can assign it, right? If it's agreed by all parties. So just in California, for example, there's the Residential Purchase Agreement, which is the purchase contract from the California Association of Realtors. And then there's another form called the Assignment of Agreement Addendum by the California Association of Realtors. So we just use that contract to assign the contract from one person to the other party. That's how we handle the assignment. One thing I like to do, so we use the term, this whole conversation, of cash buyers, right? And most people know what that is who are in wholesaling or real estate investing. I have a different term for my students that I work with. We call them financing partners. And we see, because we look as our cash buyers, as we're working together, we're maybe not in the same exact entity, meaning this cash buyer is their business, we have our business, but we want them to win as much as they want us to win. That's the type of relationship that we have. So they're our financing partner. They're bringing the financing capital to the table. So when we talk with the listing agent about the assignment, I'm not saying assignment. I'm not saying wholesale. I'm not saying wholesaling. I'm not saying I'm a wholesaler. Those are all words that can have a negative connotation to it. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm saying, hey, Lisa, we're actually going to purchase the property with my financing partner. He's bringing a majority of the capital. So we just need to change the contract from my name to his name. Completely standard operating procedure, and everything's staying the same in the contract. Just need to change it from my name to his name.
And then how does your assignment fee, or how does your fee, what you're going to make, or your students, where does it show up? Or is it done outside of closing?
Yeah, inside of closing, just put on the assignment agreement. So I've never lost a deal due to an assignment. Yeah. And if someone has questions about that, you just say, hey, we're partners and that's how I'm compensated for getting these deals. And at the end of the day, if it comes to the end hour, everything's staying the same. You've been respectful the whole entire time. It's just like another closing cost. And that's just how I do it. Hey, that's our closing cost on our side to get this deal done. Put a lot of time and effort in here, obviously.
Okay, good. Man, is there anything else you'd like to share about this whole system? I mean, I've grilled you pretty good on all the details. It's been awesome, man. I love it. It's a lot of good information. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
So yeah, a lot of people will hear this and who are serious and not take action. So if you're serious about, if you're a beginner or you're advanced, this is a strategy that you can implement. You don't necessarily have to do yourself. I recommend taking action on it. Have the long-term vision in mind. Know that, hey, maybe if you're even just submitting 40 offers a month, that can bring about 2 deals a month, and just be consistent with it. I think what I've seen too from talking about the MLS like we're doing right now, I see comments or other people that just believe that the MLS doesn't work, can't wholesale deals off the MLS. Reality is every strategy works. If you want a strategy that you can get your team excited about, something where you can get reps in as well, get experience, and the MLS can be good for you. Or maybe you have a good amount of capital and you just want to spend, $10,000 a month on pay-per-click Google campaigns. Cool. Probably not going to be a good fit for you. But if you do have people skills or want to work on your people skills, you want consistency in your business, want something where there's going to be a lot of action, a lot of talking, a lot of movement, the MLS can be really good for you. Not just for wholesaling, but fixing and flipping. And in some states as well, you can buy and hold deals, do the BRRRR model, a whole nother topic, but you can buy and hold deals from the MLS too.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to learn more about you or reach out to you, how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah. So you can go to realestateskills.com. It's my company website. Blog about all things real estate, this MLS strategy we're talking about. Got some free trainings on there as well. Got a coaching program as well. Just really diving deep in all these wholesaling aspects that we talk about called Pro Wholesaler. There's a lot of nuances in there. So if someone want to find me, realestateskills.com. It's going to be the perfect place.
Sounds good, man. Hey, buddy, I really appreciate you being on. You just shared a tremendous amount of content. I've been taking notes the whole time. So thank you so much for doing that. I really, really appreciate it. And everybody else, thank you so much for watching. Please share, please like, please leave us some feedback. We really appreciate trying to bring you the best of the rest on here. So thanks a lot for watching. Thanks, man. I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you. I'll see you.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks a lot.